Hey, guys, this is Timebreaker Saiyan and welcome to my channel. I am doing What If Goku Black was in Fairy Tale. Chapter 1 The End of a God's Justice. I thought your body was supposed to be the ultimate symbol and a weapon of your righteous rage. But it can't even keep up with me, can it? Vegeta shouted as he continuously pounded Zamasu. The battle between two merged beings with divine power raged on. But no matter how much damage the merged Zamasu took from the fused Saiyan, his semi-immortality allowed him to recover from it. The Super Saiyan Blue then dodged a slash from the Supreme Kai and bashed him into a stone wall. It ends now, Vegeta declared as he powered up and concentrated his ki into a single point. Final, Kamehameha. He fired a massive blue beam with gold electricity at his opponent. Zamasu took the blast head-on and was consumed by it, but when it passed, he immediately jumped out of the smoke still in one piece. Behold, my perfect divinity, he boasted with pride. The Saiyan instantly transmitted himself above the mutant god and shouted, "Be perfect in hell," as he socked him in the face with a god ki-enhanced punch. He then gasped before he suddenly split into his two halves, the Saiyan Prince and the Monkey King. What happened? I thought they had an hour. Shin inquired as he observed the fight. Their immense power level must have drained the time much faster. Gawasu answered. Zamasu smirked as he reared his giant purple fist back and punched both Saiyans to the ground. He then appeared before them and summoned his divine Keyblade. "Away with you, mortal scum," he bid them as he swung his blade for the killing blow. His strike was suddenly blocked by the one Saiyan who continuously stood in his way of accomplishing his plans. Trunks in his god form appeared before Goku and Vegeta with his own energy sword, surprising them and Zamasu. Back for more Trunks yet again? The deity cried in anger. The two engaged in a sword fight until Trunks fired a few energy blasts at Zamasu. Trunks dodged a strike from him and got the upper hand when he slashed an X onto his chest. The time traveler looked at the Supreme Kai in surprise. "Don't you see? I'm everlasting," Zamasu declared as he punched Trunks away. The Demi-Saiyan landed on his back and quickly used his sword to block Zamasu's divine blade. "Tell me, how will you escape my justice next? Will you run to the past, begging for help from the rest of your pathetic mortal allies? Or this time will you try the future?" The mutant god mocked the Saiyan. "How will you compensate for your weakness now? Compared to gods, then of course we're weak, but you can never make me ashamed of that." Trunks shot back. "Because when mortals do join forces, that's when we can do anything. Because believing in each other and helping each other to survive, that's what redeems us. That's what makes us who we are. Makes us worthy. That what give us our real power." The son of Vegeta began to grow stronger as he refused to back down. Soon his will to keep fighting till the end reached the rest of mankind and allowed him to connect with them spiritually. Trunks then started to gather energy from the living being on Earth and form it into an enormous ball of energy. More and more energy began to flow into the Saiyan as his spirit bomb grew larger. "I don't care how much energy you mortals have, it will never compete with the gods," Zamasu said as he tried to smash his foe. "Here we go, everyone. We'll defeat Zamasu together," Trunks declared as he jumped into the spirit bomb and absorbed it, channeling the energy through his body and reforming it into a larger version of his Keyblade. With a mighty yell, he charged at the Supreme Kai and swung his new weapon at him. Zamasu caught the blade in his hands but struggled to hold it back. "No. You're a mere mortal," Zamasu growled. "It's not about gods and mortals. You don't believe in anything but yourself, and we refuse to let you win." Trunks chastised the deity as he pulled his sword back and stabbed him in the abdomen. Zamasu cried out in pain from the strike. "But I don't understand how you can be so strong. It feels chaotic, so many different energies melded together," he said. "This is the power of mortals fighting for each other. The power of believing in something other than you." Trunks said, "Insolence." Zamasu screamed as Trunks pulled out the sword. "How dare you strike a god and retaliate against justice?" Trunks rushed at the mutant Kai again and swung his sword, cutting right through his midsection from down up. Zamasu screamed in agony as he was being cut like butter. "I don't give a damn about you, or your so-called justice," Trunks roared as he kept going. Just as he promised his foe, the son of Vegeta sliced the Supreme Kai completely in half. "No, it can't be. Zamasu screamed as his energy leaked out of the two halves of his body. Trunks gazed at the defeated rogue god who was still in shock at his downfall. A righteous god, defeated by a mortal, it's sacrilege. It cannot be, he gasped before he started laughing maniacally. His body then started glowing before it exploded into a pillar of divine energy, ascending into the heavens. The key of the deceased god was sucked into a black portal. The Demi-Saiyan of the future powered down to his base form as the spirit bomb's power left him. It's over, it's finally over. He sighed. Inside the portal, the two halves of the merged Zamasu floated roughly around. They both turned into orbs of energy before shifting back into their original halves, Goku Black and Zamasu. The two Kais were then separated and launched into different directions. In Magnolia, a dark vortex opened up in the sky and spat out a man dressed in a black GI top, a long-sleeved black undershirt, a red belt, white boots, a palm tree-shaped hair. He had a short green earring on his right ear, and on the pointer finger of his left was a silver ring with lines on it forming a misshapen X with a small crack in it. The Supreme Kai descended towards the Earth at high speed, creating a large crater upon impact. Black groaned as he got up from the crater, his body covered with cuts and bruises. He grasped his chest in pain as he looked around to scan the environment. Strange. I thought for sure that I was dead when Trunks severed my merged form, Black thought before he started walking. Am I really still alive? Or is this hell? I heard its appearance is supposed to be intolerable based on the different realms and prisoners it's meant to hold. The Saiyan imposter glanced at his right hand before holding it out and firing an energy blast. It hit the ground and made a tiny explosion. Black frowned as he glanced at his hand again. That was the weakest attack I could produce, but the damage should have been much greater than that. Black thought. Is this what happens when we die? Our powers are weakened? Perhaps this is my divine punishment for losing to a mortal. Black then closed his eyes before striking himself in the gut. He gasped in pain before falling to his knees and coughing up blood. He then rose to his feet and took a deep breath. There's no doubt about it, I'm still alive, he said before raising an eyebrow. But then where am I? And how did I separate from my fusion with my counterpart? What's going on here? He then looked at his time ring to see that it was flashing. His attention was then drawn to the black vortex that brought him to this new world. It closed shortly afterwards and the ring's glow faded, making Black Goku growl. Have I been transported to a different time period? Maybe that's why the ring was acting up, but that doesn't explain why my power has been severely crippled. This can't be the past, otherwise my ring would have sent me back to my own time instantly. Black said before he closed his eyes to try and sense any life forces. I sense many different ki, but I don't sense the Saiyans, the Supreme Kais or Zamasu.
763 BD 15
Project Zero Mortals? The Kai of Universe 10 started walking towards town while still wrapped in his thoughts. How did I survive Trunks' attack? Where am I now? Why has the great power I once had been weakened? I don't understand it. The former Zamasu stopped moving as his angry expression changed into a smirk. Well, it doesn't matter, since I'm alive, that means my dream of a mortal free world can proceed. If fate was against me, then I would be dead, but it's clear that my justice must come to pass. As he got close to town, he stopped moving when he sensed a few power levels nearby. He looked over to see two groups of humans fighting. The first group consisted of two teens and Blue Cat with wings, while the second were a trio of bandits. So, this world is also full of its own mortals. It has yet to experience the justice of a god. He muttered as he watched the two sides fight. The pink-haired teenager easily dodged attacks from the bandits. Hey Happy, are you sure these guys are the bandits from the job request? He asked the flying cat. Natsu, I'm pretty sure they are. The Exceed replied, Natsu, stop messing around and just roast them already. Lucy yelled, don't worry Luce, I'm just having a little fun. Natsu assured her, it's Lucy, the girl shouted. Black scoffed as he watched the conflict continue. These mortals are just as despicable as the one from Y own time. They still use the knowledge the gods gave them for violence and self-interest. Black stated. And the groups they form are just as strange. A rose wannabe, a blonde bimbo with breasts bigger than her own head, and a stupid blue cat with wings. Natsu evaded a few more attacks before regrouping with his friends. The two sides glared at each other. So, of all the great wizards Fairy Tail could have sent to arrest us, they send a cat, a girl, keys, and a fire breather? One of the bandits asked. What a waste of time. Hey, don't underestimate us. Natsu warned. Yeah. You guys are facing two of the best mages in Fairy Tail, Salamander and me. Lucy said. Aye, and then there's me. The might happy, said the cat. You kids don't know who you're dealing with, the bandit said before addressing his comrades. Teach them a lesson, boys. Natsu slammed his right fist into his left hand and declared, I'm all fired up now. He then ignited his right fist and charged at one of the bandits. Fire Dragon Iron Fist, he exclaimed as he socked the bandit in the face, sending him flying. Black raised an eyebrow after witnessing the salamander's strike. What was that? I could feel his power rise, but there was no key behind that attack. He thought. I'm sensing a strange power source from that mortal, matter of fact. I've been feeling the same power all around me since I got here. It feels familiar. Okay, now it's my turn. Lucy said as she pulled out a gold key. Open. Gate of the Giant Crab, Cancer. She announced as she turned the key, and a humanoid crab wearing sunglasses and holding scissors in each hand. Hey, do you need a haircut, baby? The crab spirit asked. No, but those guys do. Lucy said while pointing to the two bandits. It's just one crab. Let get him. The bandit said, all right, Cancer, take those guys down with style. Lucy commanded her spirit, all right, baby. Cancer complied. Black stared at the celestial mage with curiosity. So, the blonde girl can summon creatures with those keys, he thought. However, she should know that doing so leaves her wide open. After the three took down the bandits, they were so busy debating how to split the reward money that they didn't notice one of the bandits slowly getting up and creeping toward the celestial wizard. Goku Black spotted the bandit sneaking up to Lucy with a knife in his hand, and though that it was a futile attempt as the mages should have noticed him, but neither Natsu, Lucy or Happy became aware of the crook getting closer to Lucy. As the bandit got behind Lucy and prepared to strike her back, Happy saw him and cried, Lucy, behind you. The blonde slowly turned as the blade was lunged at her. Suddenly a hand appeared around the bandit's wrist, stopping him from impaling his intended target. Everyone looked up to see the Supreme Kai of Universe 10 standing there, grasping the bandit's wrist. Who the hell are you? The bandit asked. Instead of answering, Black just squeezed the criminal's wrist, causing him to drop his knife as he used his other hand to try and free himself. How primitive, only a lowly mortal would try such a desperate tactic, Black stated as he continued to apply pressure. The bandit screamed in agony as he fell to his knees. Seeing the bandit in pain put a dark smirk on Black's face, Natsu, Lucy, and Happy watched a little frightened by Black's enjoyment of torturing the bandit. Who is this guy? Happy asked. I don't know, but he's got a weird smile. Very creepy, Natsu replied. Like you're one to talk, Lucy muttered. You're right though, this guy's a little scary. Please, let me go. The bandit pleaded. I'll give you anything you want, just let me go. Black's smirk grew wider as he squeezed even harder, cracked the man's wrist. How cute, the little human thinks that his begging will save him. Well, know this mortal, as an immortal deity, the only thing I want is for your kind to suffer, he answered. Not wanting to see any more, Natsu stepped towards the deity and said, Hey pal, guys had enough. Just let him go, now. The Dragon Slayer glared at the fake Saiyan. Black simply looked back at the salamander, not even the slightest bit intimidated. Or what mortal? He inquired. He's got his answer when Natsu ignited his fist, or I'm gonna melt that grin right off your face. Natsu warned him. Black stared at the son of Igniel, still unfazed by his threat. This mortal has guts, he thought. Truth be told, he was afraid to take on the pink-haired teen or his friends, and he was sure that even in his weakened state he could crush them easily, but he had more important things on his mind. He still didn't know where he was or what the people of this world used rather than ki. He then glanced at the still in pain bandit before releasing his wrist. You're just lucky I don't have the time to waste, mortal, he muttered before hand-chopping the bandit in the neck, knocking him out. Natsu cancelled the fire in his fist but still kept his glare on the Supreme Kai. Lucy came up to Black and said, I'm Lucy and this is Natsu. Thank you for your help, she said graciously. Black frowned and replied. Don't thank me, vulgar blonde. I just wanted to make that lowly mortal suffer for his crimes. Vulgar? Lucy cried in disbelief. Happy then flew up to Black. I'm happy. How come you're so mean to people? He asked. Because I am. Is that a problem? Black questioned, scaring Happy and Lucy. No, sir. They said in unison. So, what's your name, pal? Natsu asked. Black. Goku Black. Black replied, you've got a weird name, buddy. Natsu commented, careful mortal, one wrong word could end your life, Black warned. Lucy quickly covered Natsu's mouth before he could say anything more. Ha ha. Don't mind Natsu, he's just making jokes, she said, faking a laugh. Black merely scoffed before looking at Happy. You, flying cat. Tell me where I am, he demanded. The Exceed quivered as he answered, why, you're close by to the tea town of Magnolia. Magnolia. I've never heard of such a strange place. Black said. Where's that? Well, Magnolia is in the country of Fury, which is in the continent of Isgar. Happy explained, I still don't understand what you're saying, feline. Black said before turning to Lucy. You, vulgar blonde. What planet is this? Earthland, Lucy stammered. Earthland? Don't you mean Earth? Black asked, to which Lucy shook her head no. So this must be some other planet or dimension. Perhaps the Earth was renamed due to its rebuilt. He thought. So, where are you from? Natsu asked Black. None of your concern, mortal. Black replied sternly. Okay, what kind of magic do you use? Natsu continued to ask. Magic? Is that what you were using to fight? Black inquired. Yeah. I use dragon-slaying magic, a type of lost magic. Natsu replied. You're looking at the Fire Dragon Slayer, the one and only salamander, Natsu Dragneel. I use celestial magic. I'm a celestial wizard. Lucy explained. Celestial magic? Is that how you summoned that creature? Black asked and Lucy nodded. I use arrow magic, that's why I can fly. Happy said. So, the gods have granted the mortals of this world the blessing of magic. That's why their power feels familiar. It's similar to the dragon god's power. Black thought. But they still waste it on pointless conflict, how disappointing. So what magic do you use? Natsu asked again. I don't use magic, Black replied. Then how can you be that fast and strong? Natsu inquired. Because I'm a god. Black replied, but his claim only confused the mages. Typical, mortals never know when a god graces them with their presence. Very well, I have more important things to do. As a reward for the info you've given me, I'll let you three live for now. Farewell, mortals. The Kai then turned and started to walk away before he staggered and fell on one knee. He quickly stood up and grasped his chest again as he continued on his way. Damn it, that Saiyan Trunks must have damaged me more than I realized. How humiliating, he growled. Hey, are you alright? You look kinda hurt. Lucy pointed out. Do not concern yourself with me, mortal, Black dismissed. Wait. Let us help you. We can take you back to Fairy Tale and patch you up. Lucy offered. Yeah, that way we can repay you for saving Lucy's big butt. Happy said. Shut up, cat. Lucy yelled. Fairy Tale? Ha! I haven't sunk so low that I need the assistance of lowly mortals, even if I am at death's door. Black replied. Besides, why would I be interested in some of your children's stories? Pathetic mortals, hey, don't mock Fairy Tale. Natsu said as he stomped towards Black before Lucy got in front of him. Cool it, Natsu. He just doesn't understand. Lucy said. The fire mage calmed down, allowing Lucy to clarify things. Fairy Tale is the name of our guild. That's where we hang out and find job requests for our work. Guild? What the hell's a guild? Black asked. A guild is a place for wizards to come together and make friends, and earn money, and learn new things. Happy said. That's right, and the three of us are a part of Fiore's #1 guild, Fairy Tale. Lucy said as she revealed her guild mark, as did Happy and Natsu. So what do you say? You can come with us and join Fairy Tale. I'm sure we'd be happy to have you. If you don't want to join, at least let us help you until you've fully recovered. Black thought about it for a moment as he gazed at the fairies skeptically. He didn't think these mortals were worth his time and wanted nothing to do with them. The only thing he cared about was returning to his own world and finishing the project he started, but he still didn't know much about this world or if there was a way for him to return home. If he wanted to get back, he needed to learn as much as he could about this place. Besides, he could just add this world to the list of mortal corrupted worlds that needed the cleansing of the gods, and he could happily give it that once his power was fully restored. Black nodded to the mages and said, "Very well, mortals, take me to this fairy tale guild you speak so highly of." The fairies smiled as they pumped their fists into the air. "All right, first we're going to turn these guys in and collect our reward. And then it's on to Fairy Tale." Chapter 2. Welcome to Fairy Tale. Goku Black vs. Natsu. Pitiful. Mortals only see themselves as a means to gain profit, another reason why I loathe them. Black thought as he watched the mages receive their reward for turning in the bandits. Afterward, the fairies and Black made their way to the train where Natsu constantly complained about not wanting to ride it but did so anyway. As the group rode the long transportation, Black looked at the Dragon Slayer with perplexity at how he seemed like he was on the verge of puking. The Kai then turned to Happy and asked, "Hey cat, what's wrong with Pinky? Why does he look like he's ill?" "Oh, Natsu just gets motion sick whenever he's in a vehicle. He'll be fine once we get off the train." Happy replied. "I see," Black said while thinking. "That's actually pathetic for a mortal to be sickened so easily from being on a vehicle." The train then came to a stop with an announcement, "Attention passengers, we've arrived at Harjin. Thank you for riding and watch your step on the way out." As Black and Lucy were stepping off the train, Happy flew over to the salamander to wake him up. "Come on Natsu, we're here," Happy said. "Jay, just give me a minute." "Okay buddy," Natsu replied. Black rolled his eyes before walking towards the fire mage, picked him up, and hoisted him over his shoulder before carrying out of the train and dropping him onto the ground. The fire dragon immediately got to his feet and cheered, "Yay! I'm alive again." Black rolled his eyes again and scoffed, "Childish mortal. Now, are we going to this fairy tale or not?" The fairies led their acquaintance through Harjin towards their guild hall. On the way there, he noticed many people glancing at the Supreme Kai strangely. "These mortals continue to eye me like some unknown creature. How dare they degrade a god? I should wipe them all out for their insolence," he thought. Before he could contemplate on what to do any further, the group stopped walking and Lucy called to him, "Hey Black, we're here." The Kai looked up at their destination, seeing a large building with an unpeculiar symbol in the center, and underneath it were the words "Fairy Tale." "This is it? Your guild?" he inquired. "Yep, welcome to Fairy Tale, Black," Happy said. The four entered through the guild doors and were immediately greeted by many of the members. However, the first person to actually approach them was Natsu, friend, arch rival, the ice mage named Grey Fullbuster. "Well, look who's back, it's Flamebrain," Grey greeted the fire mage with a wicked grin. "How ya been?" "Oh, you know, the usual Frosty," Natsu replied, returning the grin. The two mages butt heads as they glared at each other, and their auras of blue and red, respectively, started to clash. Pretty soon, many other members of the guild started roughhousing along with the fire and ice mage. Black looked at this scene and frowned while thinking, these mortals are all the same. They use the knowledge and power the gods gave them for meaningless rivalry, just like those Saiyan Goku and Vegeta. It would be a mercy for me to kill them right now. He was interrupted from his thoughts when Mira Jane came over to greet Happy and Lucy. "Hi Lucy, how'd the mission go?" she asked. "It went well. We stopped the bandits, got our reward, and even met someone new," Lucy replied as she gestured to the Kai. Mira glanced at Black, inspecting his unique appearance. "What's his name?" she inquired. "He said his name is Goku Black," Lucy said before calling the god over. "Hey Black, come over here." Black huffed and moved towards the female mages. "Black, this is Mira Jane Strauss. Call me Mira." "It's a pleasure to meet you," Mira said to the Kai with a smile. Black raised an eyebrow at the white-haired mage as he scanned her appearance. "If this is a wizard guild of the best wizards, what makes you so impressive? I haven't seen you use any magic," Black stated. "Mira is a wizard. She used to be one of our strongest, but she's retired now," Happy explained as he flew over to Black with a magazine in his paws. "Now she's a model for Sorcerer Weekly, see?" The Exceed opened the magazine to the Kai, showing him pages of Mira Jane in a swimsuit doing sexy poses. Black looked at the pages uninterested as he thought, I can't believe this mortal. She projects herself so provocatively it's taboo even for the gods. Still, she is quite pleasant to the eyes. Black's gaze suddenly turned into one of lust, but it only lasted for a second. Oh Cammy, what am I saying? I'm a god. I have no interest in mortal women, especially one who allows such disgrace upon herself. It must be the side effects of this accursed body. It finds these female mortals to be attractive. It proves my point that the only thing Saiyan bodies are good for is the power they possess. Black continued to eye the magazine more closely before Mira Jane took it from the cat's hands while blushing a bit. Oh, you boys are such perverts sometimes, she said, feigning embarrassment. Now brought back to his senses, Black scoffed at this claim. As if. I am a god. I am above such trivial mortal matters. He then turned and walked away from the fairies, who looked at him confusedly. Why did he call himself a god? Mira inquired. I don't know, he says a lot of weird things. Happy answered. Yeah, plus he's very mean and scary, Lucy said. But I don't think he's all that bad. He did save me from one of the bandits. Maybe he just feels that way. I felt like a demon before I retired. Mira speculated. Well, it doesn't matter. We brought him here cause he's injured and we want to patch him up, Lucy explained. Oh really? He doesn't look that hurt, Mira said. He's probably just trying to look tough, but we saw him. He could barely walk before he came here. Happy said. All right, let's help him then, Mira said. She and Lucy went to get a first aid kit before approaching the false Saiyan, who was still watching the scuffle between the mages of Fairy Tale. Black, we brought something to help with your wounds. Humph. I don't need a mortal's hospitality. I will heal on my own. Black refused without facing the girls. The former she-devil glared at the Kai before stepping in front of him and jabbing a finger at his face. Look here Black, you're injured and in need of medical attention, and since you're a guest here, it's our responsibility to help you, especially after you saved one of our own. Now stop being difficult and let us help you, she declared. The Supreme Kai of Universe 10 turned his attention to the white-haired mage, giving her a questionable eyebrow as though he couldn't believe she had the gall to speak to him in such a manner. Happy and Lucy looked worried that Black might hurt Mira. Black just continued to look at Mira, who kept her intense stare, but it wasn't anger or offense he was feeling. It was amazement. This woman has quite the strong spirit, he thought before complying with her request and removing his top GI. The girls stared at Kai's stolen body before blushing at his muscular physique. They started rubbing ointment and bandaging his wounds, and seeing the numerous made them awestruck. When they came to his chest, they gasped at the large X that was carved into it. What is it? Black asked. Where'd you get this scar on your chest? Mira asked. Black growled and grasped his knee as he recalled his last battle with the Demi-Saiyan. From an enemy who is now my greatest rival, one who was too persistent, too stubborn to die. His power was unreal. His determination had no end. No matter how many times I defeated him, he kept coming back as though he were invincible, indestructible, and immortal. In the end, I was defeated by his hands, but I still live, which means I have a chance to avenge my downfall. He replied while grinning wickedly. When my strength has returned and I face him again, I'll be sure to kill him. I'll make sure he pays for his crimes. Lucy and Mira were a little taken aback by Black's aggression. This guy must be quite the villain if he's committed some crimes and continues to do evil. Lucy commented, Well, I think it's noble that you want to stop this enemy from causing any more pain. Mira said as she bandaged his chest. Humph. After this foe was allowed to do as he pleases for so long, I just decided to take matters into my own hands. He's responsible for so many mortal deaths. Even reality itself was on the verge of being torn to pieces, but even the gods did nothing but ignore his sins. Black stated. This is why I had to wipe them out and stop this blasphemer myself. Wait, hold on. What do you mean you wiped out the gods? Lucy inquired. You can't seriously mean you've actually killed a god. That is exactly what I mean, vulgar blonde. The strength this body once possessed is gone, but this is the same body I used to murder my fellow gods for their defiance. Black assured. Even my own mentor had to be snuffed out in order for me to ascend. So you were trained by a god and then killed other gods? Are you like some sort of god slayer, like how Natsu is a dragon slayer since he was trained to slay dragons by a dragon? Happy asked. Something like that, feline, Black simply replied. The fairies continued to tend to Black's injuries when they noticed the cracked time ring on his finger. That's a nice ring you've got. It's a shame that it's cracked, Lucy stated. Where'd you get it? From my master, Black replied. Can I see it? Mira asked. Black raised an eyebrow but still offered his hand for her to see his ring. The former she-devil examined the ring, gazing at its magnificence. It's beautiful. Yes, it is, Black said as he felt a strange sensation. What's this feeling? Her hand feels so warm that it pleases me. He thought, did he also give you this earring? Happy asked as he tapped Black's patara before Black grabbed it. Yes. These were his greatest treasures, the time ring and the patara earring. Black explained. The girls were just finishing up on his wounds when Elfman came flying directly towards his big sister. Acting quickly, Black grabbed Mira's arm and pulled her aside, allowing her brother to continue sailing into the guild wall. Happy and Lucy were surprised by Black's fast reflexes, as was Mira. She then noticed that Black was still holding her arm and her face turned as red as Titania's hair. Black noticed her expression and realized he hadn't released her before quickly doing so. Thanks for the help, I appreciate it, Mira said shyly. Humph, whatever, Black replied as he put his top GI back on. He then went back to watching the mages continue to bash each other's heads in, growing angrier at this senseless violence. These mortals are really starting to get on my nerves with this childish mayhem. They're even more savage than I viewed mortals to be. He thought as he clenched his fist. Soon, magical attacks were sent flying through the air, making Lucy, Happy, and Mira duck for cover while Black just avoided the attacks. Okay, things are starting to get out of hand again. Haven't these guys had enough? They should really stop before they tear this guild apart. Lucy said. Aye. Happy agreed. I've had enough of this petty mortal activity. Black said as he reared his right arm back and thrust it forward, sending a wind punch toward the fairies. The force of Black's attack sent a vast majority of the mages fighting flying and plastered against the wall. He took a few heavy breaths and announced, Listen up, you mortal fools. You will cease this pointless brawl at once, or suffer the wrath of a god. Before Black could continue, a dark shadow loomed over him. He looked back and came face to face with a giant. Do you brats have any idea how much paperwork you've made the council send me for your actions? And here you are still bickering like a bunch spoiled brats. The giant shouted before he glared at Black. And you, boy, how dare come in here and attack my children? I will not stand for it. Prepare to face the consequences. Black smirked at the giant's threat and cracked his knuckles. So this giant wants to fight? I could use an appetizer, he said as his hand started glowing. I've been under a lot of stress lately. Perhaps killing a mortal is just what I need. Before anything could start, Lucy jumped in front of the Supreme Kai while waving her hands frantically. Master, wait. This guy saved me on my job. We brought him here to help him. And he was just trying to stop the brawl. She assured the giant. The giant's face calmed down as he glanced at Black, who still had his guard up. Is that so? Well, in that case. The giant suddenly decreased in size before disappearing from Black's eyes. He looked around until he sensed something in front of him. Glancing downward, he spotted the guild's third master. Sorry about that. Thanks for the help. The little man said. Black raised an eyebrow at the mage before him. This, tiny man, is the master of this place? He asked in disbelief. Yep. This is Master Makarov of the Fairy Tale Guild. Mira answered as she came over to the Kai. Master, this Goku Black. Nice to meet ya, Makarov greeted the Kai, whom nodded back. Thanks again for saving one of my children. You have my gratitude. Wait a minute, did you say one of your children? Black inquired. Why yes, everyone in Fairy Tale is a child of mine. Makarov replied and was surprised when the fake Saiyan chuckled. What's funny, lad? I never considered that a man of your age would be capable of procreating so many times, Black replied. It certainly boggles the mind. A surprised Makarov angrily replied, You fool, I don't mean by blood. I meant by membership and the bonds we share. In a guild, everyone is considered family to one another, and as their master, I feel as though they're all my children. He then calmed down and grew a perverted grin. Besides, if they were my children by blood, I wouldn't be able to enjoy any of Myra's swimsuit photos. Master, please, Mira said. Black rolled his eyes but understood the old man's words. I see. Anyway, what brings you to our guild, Black? Are you interested in joining? Makarov asked, and what pretell reason would I have to join your guild, old man? Black inquired. Well, I don't see you going to join any other guild. Plus I think you'd fit in great if you can handle our daily roughhousing the way you did, Makarov answered. Daily? So you mortals behave like wild animals regularly? Black asked. I know we seem like a guild of troublemakers, but we're just having fun with each other and we really do care about our fellow members, so we'd never really hurt them, Makarov explained. So what do you say? Want to join? Thanks for the offer, old man, but no thanks, Black replied. I came here because your children offered to help me with my injuries and I wanted to know more about this place. I see. What exactly did you wish to know? The master asked. First, are all of you capable of performing magic tricks? Black questioned curiously. Yes, but I assure you, young man, our magic is more than a simple trick, Makarov explained. Our magic is a talent that only works when the flow of energy inside of us and the flow of energy in the natural world are in perfect sync. To perform magic, one must have a strong mind and the ability to focus. Despite how reckless we may act, I'm sure you can see that each of us is capable of casting spells to a certain extent. Black nodded and asked, so, exactly how many different types of magic are there in this world? Countless, with each wizard holding the potential to perform any magic they please. And it's not limited to just one. Each guild holds a variety of wizards who have mastered their power or wish to learn from more experienced ones. Magic comes from the emotions felt deep within, and the stronger the emotion, the greater the magic. Makarov answered before raising an eyebrow. What do you mean by this world? I come from a different world where very few can wield this kind of magic. We rely on a different source of power that in turn does possess the same potential as magic. Black explained as he held out his right hand and formed his divine sword. We use ki, though I use something greater, divine ki. And what exactly can you do with this ki? A blue-haired girl inquired. Black smirked wickedly as he held up his left hand and stabbed it with his blade before pulling out his divine scythe. Anything, he replied. Everyone stared at the Supreme Kai with looks of astonishment. Is there anything else you want to know? Makarov asked after getting over his surprise. No. Thank you for the information and the assistance, but I must get going now, Black said. Are you sure you don't want to join us? You'd be very welcome here, Mira said while placing her hand on Black's arm. The Kai stared at the model in surprise, feeling disgusted that a mortal could defile him with their touch so easily and comfortable with it. What is this feeling again? Why does this keep happening? He thought before stepping away from the former mage. I cannot. I have a mission as a god and it must be carried out. While I await my strength's return, I must find a way back to my world. I have enemies to kill and a project to complete, one that will bring about a glorious world of undisturbed beauty. I must also find my lost partner so that we can reunite and build this grand utopia together. Mira looked sad at his words as the guildmaster came beside her. Very well, if you ever need a place, you're welcome here, Goku Black. Makarov bid him. Goodbye and best of luck. Black nodded and said, farewell, fairies. He headed towards the door before he was intercepted by the son of Igneo. What is it, Dragon Slayer? Natsu stared at Kai intensely before saying, fight me, I'm sorry, my ears must have been damaged. I thought I heard you say, fight me. Black said, that's right, I said fight me. Let's go, just you and me. Natsu demanded. Black looked at the fire mage with wide eyes before he started laughing at him. Amazing, no matter where I go, the foolishness of mortals never ceases to surprise me, he said. What's that supposed to mean? Natsu asked. It means that challenging me is the biggest mistake any mortal can make, Black replied. I have fought foes whose power even rivals Supreme Kais and Destroyer gods. Not to mention I've killed every god I've faced in combat. Not even the Saiyans could take me down. What chance does a mortal who plays with fire have? I don't really understand what you're saying, but I don't think you're as strong as you claim to be. That's why I want to fight you. Natsu stated. What? Do you doubt my powers? The powers of a god? Black inquired. That's right. I want to see who's stronger, a dragon slayer or a god slayer. Natsu said, even if I can only wield a fraction of my power, it's more than enough to crush your so-called magic, Black promised him. Then bring it on. I'll show you how strong I really am when I burn you to a crisp. Natsu declared. Black continued to eye the Dragon Slayer, seeing his determination. Intriguing, this mortal truly does want to fight me. Whether Saiyan or human, all mortals must have traded their intelligence for power. He thought. Still, I sense that he has one of the highest power levels here. I do possess a Saiyan body, and their strength does come from fighting strong opponents. If I want my powers to be restored, then perhaps I need an appetizer. Black smirked and replied, very well, Dragon Slayer, we shall engage in combat. Hey! Sound like fun. Natsu said as he ignited his fist. Hold on. Makarov called out. Take it out the back to avoiding damaging our guild hall any further. Fine. Black and Natsu said before heading outside. The rest of the guild members quickly followed to see the fight between the Supreme Kai and the Fire Dragon Slayer. Soon all of the fairies had gathered together, forming a circle around Black and Natsu. Many of them had lined up at Kana's gambling ring to place their bets. Hey Wakaba, Macau called. Yeah, Macau, Wakaba replied. I bet that Natsu beats this guy in 5 minutes or less, Macau said as he held out his money. You're on. I wager this Black beats Natsu in 6 minutes, the smoke mage countered. Lucy looked surprised that any of her guildmates were betting against the Dragon Slayer. She glanced toward Happy and asked, You're going to bet on Natsu, right Happy? The Exceed gave a serious look before rushing over to the card mage and saying, 10 jewels on Black to win. Lucy stared at the blue feline in shock. You little traitor. She declared before facing the ice mage beside her. So, who are you betting on, Gray? She asked. Gray side-eyed her and huffed, honestly, even though I'm not a fan of Natsu's, I still know he's pretty tough. I guess I'm just eager to see what this guy can do. But you'd have to be stupid to bet on Black. Mira Jane suddenly appeared beside him with a smile before bursting into tears. I am sorry, Mira. I didn't know. Gray tried to comfort the model. Smooth move, Gray, Lucy muttered. After all of the bets on the fight had been made, both combatants stood ready. I'll only say this once, mortal, if you value your life, then stand down now. Black warned his opponent. Oh, what's the matter, Black? Getting scared? Natsu mocked him. Certainly not. I'm telling you that there's a chance I might go overboard and you could be killed. Black warned him again. If you die, I will not be held responsible. This is your last chance to back out. Hey! Don't worry about me. I don't plan on dying anytime soon. Now quit flapping and let's fight. Natsu replied as he banged his fists together. Black raised an eyebrow at the salamander. What a fool. I warned him that he might die, but he refuses to listen. Now I'll have to be careful so that I don't. Wait, why do I care whether this mortal lives or dies? It's none of my concern. Whatever the outcome of this battle is, so be it. He thought as he took his stance. Ready? He asked Natsu. Oh yeah. Natsu replied as his fist caught on fire. Makarov stood between the two fighters and raised his right hand. I'll referee. If this match gets too out of hand, I'll call it off immediately, understand? He inquired, to which the two nodded. Then let the fight between Black and Natsu begin, he declared as he lowered his hand and stepped back. Fire Dragon Iron Fist. Natsu shouted as he dashed at the Supreme Kai with his fire fist, starting off with a right hook strike. Black easily sidestepped the attack and prepared to fire a ki blast at Natsu's back. Sensing the attack, Natsu quickly turned and punched Black's hand upward, causing the blast to fly into the heavens and explode there. This mortal has incredible fighting sense, Black thought. He then rushed at Natsu and started throwing a barrage of punches at him. As Natsu dodged or blocked the punches, he thought, man, he's good. But that just means I'll have to turn up the heat. Natsu then backed away from the Saiyan imposter before charging at his right side, going for a right hook attack. To his surprise, Black caught his pyro punch and attempted to sock the Dragon Slayer in the gut while still holding him in place. Don't tell this the best you can do, Salamander. Black said before tossing Natsu aside. The son of Igneal landed on his right foot and rushed at the Kai again, this time with both his arms blazing. Fire Dragon Wing Attack. He shouted while swinging his arms, unleashing a wave of fire at his opponent. The blast sent Black flying backward before he quickly regained his balance in the air and started clapping, which confused the fairies. Magnificent performance. Not bad indeed, Dragon Slayer. Your flames are exceptionally powerful, Black commended the fire mage. But you'll have to do better than that if you want to be more than an appetizer to me. Black gave Natsu his wicked smile, who returned it with his own signature smile. The smile of the fire dragon caught the attention of his friends. Natsu's smiling at Black. Happy stated, "Yeah, he is." Gray agreed. Lucy glanced at her guildmates with curiosity. "So what?" "He's always smiling," she said. "Why is this any different?" "Because this smile Natsu hardly ever shows, only when he's enjoying fighting someone. This Black must be crazy strong, so Flame Brains get serious now." Gray answered. Black descended to ground level where he and Natsu charged at each other and began trading blows. As they continued to fight, Natsu struck Black in the stomach, causing him to cough up some spit. Natsu then jumped behind the Kai while turning upside down. Black watched as Natsu took a deep breath and his cheeks began to swell, wondering exactly what the mage was about to do. Fire Dragon Roar. Black's body was bathed in a blaze of glory released from Salamander's jaws. When it ended, the Kai had little time to recover before he noticed his opponent flying at him very fast while his entire body was lit on fire like some sort of flaming bullet. Fire Dragon Sword Horn. Natsu rammed Black in the chest, causing an explosion to surround them. The rest of the guild thought that Black was done for as they watched Natsu appeared outside a large dust cloud. To their surprise, streaks of black energy shot out of the smoke, blowing it away and revealing the Supreme Kai of Universe 10. His body was smoking and he had a few bruises, but other than that, he was completely unfazed. Black dusted himself off as he started laughing. "Amazing, so this is the power of a Dragon Slayer," Black muttered as he glanced at his body. "I was wrong to think you'd be just an appetizer. You've moved up to the main course level. Again, I can't make sense of what you're saying, but you look like you're getting excited." Natsu pointed out. "I guess you like fighting strong people too." "Yeah, I do," Black said as he crossed his arms over his chest. "Ha-ah!" He let out a massive black aura. Natsu looked intrigued by Black's power boost, as did many of the other guild onlookers. "And what was that? Some kind of power-up?" Natsu inquired. Rather than answer him, Black just smirked. Before the Dragon Slayer could blink, Black rushed at him and kicked him in the gut, causing him to fly back. He stopped himself but didn't have much time to recover before he was pounded by a volley of energy blasts from the Supreme Kai. Black laughed with joy as he mercilessly blasted the son of Igneo. He then stopped and charged at the dazed Dragon Slayer, intending to punch his lights out. Before he could reach him, he glanced at his ring, which he noticed was glowing as he got closer to Natsu. "What is this? My time ring is reacting to the Dragon Slayer. Why?" He thought before he was bashed in the face by a flame elbow attack from his opponent. "Letting your guard down around me is a big mistake, pal." Natsu shouted, "Forget about your fancy ring and focus on the fight." "Don't order me, mortal," Black said back before he was hit with a flurry of fiery fists. He then grabbed both Natsu's fists and glared at the Dragon Slayer as the two pushed against each other. Black then skull bashed Natsu in the face before gaining some distance from him and holding out his hand. "Begone, mortal," he exclaimed as he fired numerous energy blasts at the salamander. After the blast barrage, there was a smoke screen that covered the area around Natsu. Black closed his eyes in an attempt to detect the fire mage's presence. "Where'd he go?" he asked himself. "Right behind ya, dummy." Natsu shouted as he appeared behind the Kai. "Fire Dragon Talon." Black turned to face the Dragon Slayer and was met with a fire kick to the face. Black shook it off and tried to punch the salamander. Natsu avoided the blow by jumping up while holding his hands above his head. Black watched in awe as the son of Igneo summoned a giant-sized fireball in his hands. "Fire Dragon Brilliant Flame," Natsu yelled as he tossed the firebomb right at the Supreme Kai. Black crossed his arms over his face as he was swallowed up by the Inferno attack. When it ended, Black fell to one and took heavy breaths as he was smoking again. Natsu as well as Makarov and the rest of the guild assumed he was hurt but were confused when the Kai started laughing again. "Hey, what's so funny?" he asked. I'm laughing, mortal, because this is why I fight, Black declared as he stood back up. Yes, this pain will only make me stronger. The more this body is damaged, the more power is gained, or in this case, regained. And what's that supposed? Natsu began to ask before he was hit with a force of energy from Black. The false Saiyan then dashed towards the Dragon Slayer with even greater speed than when he started the fight and punched him straight in the gut. Natsu gasped before he grasped his stomach and fell on the floor. He was knocked out cold. Hey! It means you stand no chance against a warrior like me, Black said. He then placed his foot under Natsu's chin and lifted his head to see if he was alive. He's not moving. Could that have killed him? Just a little too much power and he died. But he did make a fine meal. He then looked surprised when the Dragon Slayer started coughing. So he's still alive. That punch wasn't near my best, but it was more power than I intended. If any of the human armies back on Earth had taken that blow, they would have surely died. It seems the mortals of this world have more potential than the ones in mine, he thought as he stepped away from his fallen opponent. Master Makarov hopped down his watching stand and approached the two fighters. The winner of this match is Black, he declared. Happy immediately flew over to check on his friend. Wake up, Natsu. Are you okay? The Exceed asked as he shook the fire mage. Natsu groaned as he lazily opened his eyes. What happened? Did I win? He inquired. Not really. Come on, let's go inside and get something to eat, Happy suggested as he picked his friend up and took him to the guild hall. Many of the members had gone over to commend Black on his victory, while others went to get their winnings as a result of betting on the Supreme Kai. Dude, that was an awesome match, Gray said. It's nice to see Flame Brain get a good ass kicking. Congrats, Black. I knew you'd win, Mira said. Don't you think you were a little too rough with Natsu? Lucy inquired. HMPH. I did warn him that I would hit him hard and accepted that. However, I did expect him to last as long as he did, Black admitted. He was then interrupted when a dark brown-haired woman wearing a blue bikini top and long brown pants, with the guild mark on her waist, placed her arm around him while carrying a wad of jewels. How did she get so close without me noticing? He thought. Hey handsome, name's Kana, try not to stare too much. Just wanted to say thanks for winning and making me a lot of money, a cheeky Kana said before offering, let repay by buying ya a drink. We could totally celebrate your win with a lot of booze, as if mortal. I'd never sully myself to drink such vulgar mortal beverage, Black replied as he separated himself from the card mage. A simple no would have been fine. Kana pouted. Black was then approached by a muscular man with white hair and a mark on his neck, Mira Jane's brother. Yo, your fight with Natsu was a real man's fight, said the mage. Black just scoffed. Our fight was nothing more than a test of strength, mortal. My name's Elfman, I'm Myra's younger brother. If that was a test, then you're a real man for passing, he commended the Kai. Whatever, Black said before he began to walk away from the fairies. He staggered a bit and grasped his chest in pain, which caught everyone's attention. Are you hurt, lad? Makarov questioned. I'm fine. This pain won't stop me, I'll recover, Black replied as he straightened himself. I need to be alone for now. Then I'm leaving. Before you go, please stop by the guild, we'd really appreciate it, Makarov requested. Black simply glanced at the old man before saying, very well. He then continued on his way as he tried to let his body adjust to the pain. Unbeknownst to him, the former she-devil was following him while carrying a basket full of snacks. Chapter 3 Black Goku vs. Blue Skull. The corrupted god had wandered away from the guild into a quiet spot in a small forest. He glanced at his time ring, noticing the small crack on it. The ring must have been damaged in my fight against the Saiyans. Can I still use it to escape this dimension? He thought. He pointed the ring upward and closed his eyes to focus. The ring started glowing before a white beam shot out of it and struck the heavens. A small gold vortex appeared in the sky, but then dark red electricity formed around it. The same phenomenon was happening around the time ring. Black gritted his teeth as he could feel the strain from the ring's usage. Eventually, he recoiled his hand and the light from the ring faded. He glanced at the small portal in the sky before it vanished completely. Black scoffed. It appears that trying to use the ring to cross dimension is impossible while it's in this state. He muttered, "What about traveling to the future?" He tapped the ring and shouted, 3 minutes. A force field appeared around him and a swirl of colors consumed him. He appeared in the same exact spot only 3 minutes later. So, I can still travel to the future but of this dimension. Black then glanced at his ring again as he recalled the words of his former mentor. It is possible to affect the flow of time in a way that creates a parallel stream, and judging by the bands in that box, this has happened in recent years. What sort of fools would attempt such madness? Black Goku's face turned into a serious glare. I can think of one fool, he muttered while clenching his fist. That Saiyan Trunks has committed another sin, stopping me from completing my project and banishing me to this bizarre reality. Only a god could predict the kind of chaos in time was created from my failure and now in dimensions as well. But if that primitive time wanderer thinks he's truly defeated me, he's in for a surprise. Black suddenly smirked. Yes, my strength will return in time, and then I will go back and finish what I started. All the Saiyan did was introduce my justice to another world, and I will carry it out. Black then began reminiscing on his fight with Natsu. So that was the power of the Fire Dragon Slayer, Natsu Dragneel, the salamander. Our fight was truly instructive. Black glanced at his hand before throwing a punch, releasing a strong force of wind that cut down a tree. This body is truly a blessing of the gods. The more it's damaged in battle, the more power it gains. The false Saiyan closed his eyes as images of his fight with Natsu appeared in his head. As the images from the fight continued to play in his head, Black began to assume his fighting stance. Shades of Goku appeared over him and then he reared his arms back with his hands closed into fists and performed a few more wind punches. Not too far away, Mira Jane was watching Black test out his newfound strength with awe while secretly behind some bushes. Oh wow! So that's what he meant when he said pain makes him stronger. She thought as she was surprised at how much stronger Black got after just one beatdown with the salamander. One of Black's attacks flew past her, making her squeal from the force of it. The Supreme Kai heard her outburst and became alert. Who's there? Black demanded before raising his hand to her location. Show yourself, mortal, or I'll blast you out. Wait, it's just me, Black. Mira called as she revealed herself. Oh, it's you. What do you want, woman? Black inquired as he put his hand down. I just came to see if you were okay, Mira said. Well, as you can see, I am fine, Black replied. Now leave me be, you seem a bit antisocial, Mira stated. I am a divine being whose sole mission is to restore order. I've been defeated before I could complete my mission. I am exiled from my home, and the only partner I ever trusted is gone. So you can see why I'm kind of alone. Black said. Mira gave him a look of sympathy. I'm sorry all that happened to you. I don't need your pity, mortal. After all, it was your kind that did this to me. Black scoffed. So I guess you don't trust mortals, Mira said. I despise them. I loathe them. Black answered. What about demons? Mira asked nervously. Demons are the opposite of gods. They're just as despicable as mortals. That's why I enjoyed sending them all to hell and then wiping them out from there. Black answered. Why do you ask? No reason. Mira quickly dismissed and asked. Okay, how about fairies? They're not mortals or demons. The false Saiyan closed his eyes as images of his fight with Natsu appeared in his head. As the images from the fight continued to play in his head, Black began to assume his fighting stance. Shades of Goku appeared over him and then he reared his arms back with his hands closed into fists and performed a few more wind punches. Not too far away, Mira Jane was watching Black test out his newfound strength with awe while secretly behind some bushes. Oh wow! So that's what he meant when he said pain makes him stronger. She thought as she was surprised at how much stronger Black got after just one beatdown with the salamander. One of Black's attacks flew past her, making her squeal from the force of it. The Supreme Kai heard her outburst and became alert. Who's there? Black demanded before raising his hand to her location. Show yourself, mortal, or I'll blast you out. Wait, it's just me, Black. Mira called as she revealed herself. Oh, it's you. What do you want, woman? Black inquired as he put his hand down. I just came to see if you were okay, Mira said. Well, as you can see, I am fine, Black replied. Now leave me be, you seem a bit antisocial, Mira stated. I am a divine being whose sole mission is to restore order. I've been defeated before I could complete my mission, I am exiled from my home, and the only partner I ever trusted is gone. So you can see why I'm kind of alone. Black said. Mira gave him a look of sympathy. I'm sorry all that happened to you, I don't need your pity, mortal, after all, it was your kind that did this to me. Black scoffed. So I guess you don't trust mortals, Mira said. I despise them. I loathe them. Black answered. What about demons? Mira asked nervously. Demons are the opposite of gods. They're just as despicable as mortals. That's why I enjoyed sending them all to hell and then wiping them out from there. Black answered. Why do you ask? No reason. Mira quickly dismissed and asked. Okay, how about fairies? They're not mortals or demons. I've never really met a fairy, or I can't recall meeting one. I have no opinion of one since I don't know what they're like. Black said. Well, you could use us as an example. We are the Fairy Tale Guild after all. Mira offered. Black raised an eyebrow at her before chuckling. What's so funny? If you people are what fairies are like, then my opinion is at its lowest. Black answered. You're all mindless barbarians who spend your days beating each other in petty squabbles. Hey, we're not that bad. I know we seem like we just want to tear each other apart, but we do care for one another. Our bonds are forged through our interactions, roughhousing included. Mira said. If you took the time to really get to know us, you'll see that we're a great guild. I don't even consider you all as fairies. You're just children dreaming hopeless impossibilities. Black said. Our dreams are another thing that put us together. We all grow stronger together. Even if we're not actual fairies, our guild represents the hope that those creatures truly exist. We all believe that we'll find one someday and that it's the amazing adventure that will be worthwhile as long as we have each other. Mira explained. Black raised an eyebrow at her before turning away. Whatever, have your silly dreams. What do I care? Now leave me alone, woman. Wait, Mira said as she showed the basket of food she brought. I thought you might be a bit hungry from the fight. Right on cue, Goku Black's stomach began to growl. I guess I was right. Curse this body and its pitiful needs. Black thought. Eyeing her basket of food and feeling his hunger growing, the Supreme Kai looked to the model who had moved to a nearby bench and sat down before offering him a seat beside her. Black frowned but reluctantly accepted her offer. Mira handed the basket of food to the false Saiyan who looked at it and said, I suppose the needs of the body must be met, before taking it and opening it. He picked up a sandwich and examined it before taking a bite to appease his stomach. As soon as Black bit into the sandwich, his eyes widened like dish plates. I have always seen Gawasu eat food and even tried some myself, but I never tasted such exquisiteness. He thought before resuming to eat. Mira Jane noticed the Kai's expression and giggled, which got his attention. What do you find amusing, mortal? He inquired. You eat as though you've never had food in your life. It's funny, Mira replied. Don't be ridiculous. I've eaten your mortal food before, Black said. Mira then gave him an I'm not buying it look. Then you must really like it. I made it myself. She said. Black looked at her questionably. He had no desire to spill his guts to us mortal female, so he was vague in answering. I was a warrior prodigy, the best among the Supreme Kai apprentices. I was being groomed to take my master's place. I never really cared for mortals back then, but then, one came and challenged me to battle. It took everything I had to stand a chance against his power while he was holding back. In the end, I was defeated, the first disgrace I ever felt in my existence. I learned that day how dangerous mortals could be if left unchecked, and that's when I began my mission. But I was opposed and soon rejected from my world into this one. How? Mira asked. The warrior who led the opposers managed to awaken some incredible power, and before I knew it was separated from my only ally and thrown into this dimension of magic, Black answered before clenching his fist. But I will find a way back no matter the cost, and then I will have my revenge against those mortals who stood against me. The vile creatures will suffer for their crimes. Mira was a little scared by Black's anger but still tried to comfort him. I'm sorry that happened to you, but maybe if you tried to get to know mortals more, you'll see that they're not so bad as you think. She suggested. Get to know? What more is there to know? Black questioned. You humans use the knowledge of the gods for petty things like war, conflict, suffering, and violence. The cycle repeats itself and yet you never learn. That's not true. Some humans do learn from their mistakes and they become better after it. Mira said, you say that and yet I've seen countless mortals go through the same cycle or mistakes, and yet they go right back and do it over again. Black disagreed. Mortals will never change. Mira Jane looked at the fake Saiyan skeptically. Before saying, not everything we humans do is violent, we also know caring, love, and friendship. After all, that's what Fairy Tail was built on. I bet if you stuck around with us, we can show that there's more to mortals than just the bad you see in us. She said while putting her hand on his shoulder. My opinion of mortals will never change, Black assured. Well, are you at least coming back to the guild with me? Mira asked, and why would I go back to that chaotic children's cottage? Black inquired. Well, I imagine you don't have a place to stay, so you can stay there for a while, Mira offered. Plus, I'd be happy to make you more food if you'd like. Sorry, the offer is tempting but I decline, Black said as he got up and turned to leave. My only focus is to get stronger so that I can go back to my world and finish what I started. Then you should stick with us because you won't find stronger mages anywhere else, Mira said. Natsu is strong but there are other mages stronger than him. Gray's equal to Natsu, then there's an S-class mage stronger than both of them, then there are two stronger than her, and then there's our strongest mage who no one in our guild can beat. They can help you get your strength back if you stay with us. Goku Black looked back at the she-devil, his interest piqued. He still didn't trust her or any of her guildmates, but he did acknowledge that Natsu was a good challenge. If there were fairies stronger than him, then they would be perfectly suited for getting him back to full strength. Very well, I suppose I will accompany you back to your guild. But don't get the wrong idea. I have no interest in joining or getting to know you mortals. I simply will not degrade myself to wandering around this absurd world. Plus, I'd like to see these strong wizards you mentioned and test their strength. Mira just smiled smugly before getting up and starting to walk back to the guild. You coming? She called to the Kai. Black growled before beginning to follow her. Don't think you've convinced me to give mortals a chance. Once I'm at full power, I'll wipe out all of you like I did in my world. He swore to himself. Mira smiled at him again as she thought, don't worry Black, I'll help you see that not all humans are bad, you can count on that. After getting back to the guild hall, Mira Jane went back to her daily duties while Black was sitting alone meditating. The guild wizards were either chatting among themselves or picking out job requests. Black was channeling his energy as some watched. Eventually, he grew impatient and got up. I have to do something. I can't just sit and wait for my strength to return. He thought. He wandered over to the job request board where Team Shadowgear was checking out some requests. What are these supposed to be? He wondered out loud after examining the board. The blue petite girl wearing an orange dress had heard his question and decided to answer. These are job requests? Job requests? Black inquired. Care to explain, blue-haired maiden? Sure. People send in requests to the guilds if there's a job is too big for them to handle. Levy clarified. The board has many requests on it and each request has an assignment along with a reward of how much the job is worth. Guilds send wizards or teams of wizards to meet with the client who sent the request and negotiate before getting the task done. Some jobs are harder than others, which is why they require wizard teams to complete. I see, Black replied. By the way, I'm Levy and these are my teammates Jet and Droy. Together we're Team Shadowgear. Levy introduced her team to the Kai. Nice to meet you, the boys greeted. Black just nodded to them before going back to the board. It seems the mortals of this world are too reliant on others and can't do their own work for themselves. He thought. However, it appears that these jobs would be a good way to better improve this body with training. I might actually find stronger mages to fight. He spotted a specific request that got his attention and pulled it from the board. I think I'll start with this one. Levy examined the request and was a little surprised. But that's an A-class job. She said, so, what does that mean to me? Black asked, this job requires you to bring a partner wizard along. It might be too hard for even someone like you to complete. Levy explained. We'd be happy to go with you and show you the ropes. Black just laughed at her. I need no mortal's help to complete a simple task. I work alone. He stated. Well, if you're going to do that job, Then you should take it to Mira so she can approve it, Levi said. Very well, Black said before leaving with the request. The Supreme Kai went over to the bar stand where the white-haired mage was serving drinks. When she noticed Black holding a job request, she walked over to him and received the job request from his hand. She was surprised by the job he took, which Black did not fail to notice. Is there a problem, white-haired maiden? He asked her. Mira then looked back at the job and then explained it to him. This is quite the request you've chosen. The job asks you to liberate a town under the control of the Dark Guild Blue Skull. Hearing those words made Black a little excited. Really, sounds interesting, he replied. Are you sure you can handle this alone? You should probably take someone with you as backup, Mira suggested. I need no assistance, I will handle this job by myself. Black said, well, okay. Mira complied before stamping the job for approval. Here you go, good luck, Black. I don't require luck, all I need is power, and the one I possess is more than enough for the task at hand. Black replied before leaving the guild hall with his job request. As he walked towards the train station, he thought to himself, fighting an entire guild, huh? Finally, some mortals will receive my divine justice and it will give me a chance to strengthen this body. This will be fun. The Supreme Kai eventually made it to the station and got aboard the train. As he rode the vehicle towards the destination, he looked over the location of the job. The mortal who requested for help hails from a town called Burke. Never heard of this town before, not that it matters. He muttered to himself. The false Saiyan began to image training, fighting against mental images of his past foes to strengthen his body. However, the images began fading from his mind and were replaced by his short time with the Fairy Tail Guild, especially his time with Mira Jane. Why am I seeing these images? He thought before forcing those images to the back of his head and decided to take a nap. Moments later, Black awoke to, attention passengers, we've arrived at Burke Station. Thank you for riding with us. He quickly got off the train and proceeded to walk towards his destination. As the false Saiyan went on his way, he felt multiple life forces nearby. Pretty soon, he was surrounded by 5 members of the Skull Reaper Guild. What do you mortals want? I'm very busy and not in the mood to deal with you, so state your business before I lose patience. Black warned. Hey, buddy, you're entering our turf, so you need to pay the toll. One of the members said. Black merely glanced around at the mages before chuckling to himself. Hey, what's so funny? You mortals never cease to amaze me about how stupid you can be, Black replied. What's that supposed to mean? You're not in a position to be laughing, pal. You're outnumbered, said another mage. You think your quantity means anything to the quality of a god? Black asked as he began to flare up his ki. The 5 guild wizards started cowering in fear from the pressure of Black's power. The Supreme Kai gave an evil grin as he raised his hand and channeled his keyblade. In a flash, Black dashed around and struck all 5 of the mages before stopping. 4 of them suddenly looked down and saw gashes in their chests before coughing up blood and falling dead on the floor. The 5th one just saw a cut on his chest as he stared his comrades' corpses before looking back at Black in fear. Ah, it's always so nice to see a mortal's face twist in fear before killing them, Black said. How did you? The mage asked. Black didn't answer him as he slowly walked towards him, stepping over the spilled blood of the dead wizards. The last member grew more fearful as Black got closer before eventually turning away and fleeing for his life. Black raised his hand and prepared to fire an energy blast at the coward when he heard someone say, "That was amazing." He looked up and saw a girl who looked like she was at least 19 sitting on a tree branch. She wore a white top with dark gold highlights on the outside of the top, which he also noticed was holding in her bust. Her attire showed her mid-rib and she wore short white shorts. Her hair was blonde and she wore red piercings on both her ears. Black also noticed that she had blue eyes just like Mira Jane. The Kai just ignored her before going back to killing his target, only to scoff and cancel his energy blast when he saw the mage had disappeared. How could I have let myself get distracted so easily? Black thought. Man, you were incredible just now. The girl said as she hopped down from the tree and approached the Kai. But did you really have to murder these guys and let one of them escape? She asked while staring down at the corpses in disgust. I was about to finish that last one before you distracted me, girl, Black pointed out sternly. Oh, sorry about that. The girl apologized before introducing herself. I'm Emily, what's your name? Black, the false Saiyan replied, The girl named Emily then noticed the paper in his hand. "What's that?" she asked. Black held up the request to show her. "A job request." "Oh, you're looking for Burke, huh?" she assumed. "Well, I live there. I can take you there, to make up for earlier." Emily started going before gesturing the Kai to follow her. Black didn't sense any deceit from her, though he wasn't worried if she was lying, and decided to follow her. She eventually led him to a small village. As they entered, they were greeted by many townsfolk before a few of them stopped them. "Emily, what are you doing? You know you're not supposed to leave the village. It's dangerous," one villager said before noticing Black. "And who's this? He's here about the job," Emily replied. "Then he needs to see the mayor about it." "This way, stranger." Black Goku was led to the mayor's office, where he was approached by a short man wearing a red suit and blue hair, being accompanied by a taller man with glasses and wearing a black and white suit. "Welcome, stranger. I'm the mayor of Burke, and this is my butler," the short man introduced. "We can discuss the job further inside my office. Please follow me." As Black and the mayor stepped into the office, the butler offered Black a cup of tea, which he accepted and began to drink. The two then sat down and the mayor began speaking. "Now, as I'm sure you're aware, our town wasn't always under the control of a dark guild." Black didn't reply, as he just sipped his tea and listened on. "Well, Blue Skull has been terrorizing our town for some time, and we'd greatly appreciate it if you could take care of them for us." Black took another sip of his tea and replied, "Very well, I will deal with this Blue Skull. By tomorrow they won't be a problem to you anymore. Thank you, young man. We'll agree to compensate you any way we can," the mayor said. "No need, I require a place of refuge," Black said as he stood up. He then felt something press into his back and a pair of arms wrapped around his waist. He turned and saw Emily, having forgotten she was with him. "What do you want, girl?" he asked. "Isn't it obvious?" "I want you to stay at my house tonight. We've got plenty of room," Emily replied. Her face was turned away so Black couldn't see her blushing. "I think that's a good idea," the mayor said. Black thought for a moment and said, "I suppose, at least this way I won't have to sleep outside." He then separated from the girl and stepped outside, motioning her to lead the way. Emily then grabbed his hand and sprinted home. Black couldn't figure it out, but something about this didn't seem right. How can I allow a mortal to casually get this close to me? To even touch me? Why won't I just obliterate her on the spot? This is such an insolent act to a god, he thought, but did nothing. The two eventually arrived at Emily's house and walked through the front door. "Mom, I'm home," she called, making Black cringe a bit. "Emily," something said back before Emily got tackled by a small cat the same size as Happy, except with a scar over his left eye, and his fur was bright green with a black spot on his belly. "Neb," Emily squealed as she then lifted the cat up and hugged him into her chest tightly. "How's Mommy's favorite kitty cat?" The cat pureed in response. Black then saw two other figures coming over to greet them. The first one was female with long brown hair and wore a short red top with a red skirt to match and a pair of boots. He also noticed her chest size was a bit bigger than Emily's, but not too big. He could surmise that she was Emily and the other girl's mother. He then looked to the left and saw another girl who was a bit shorter than Emily, but she had silver hair and brown eyes. She wore a black and blue skirt and boots to go with, and she was shy, but Black felt a brimming power from her. He also noticed that both girls took after their mother, as their chests and asses did fill in nicely. Emily then went over to introduce her family. "This girl is my sister, Gwen. I'm 19 and she's 17. She said while gesturing to the silver-haired girl before moving on to the brunette woman. "And this lady here is my mom." Emily's mother stepped towards Black to greet him. "Welcome, my name's Kayla. Thank you for coming to our village to free it from Skull Reaper," she said and gave a small bow, to which Black just nodded to. The younger girl then came up to Black. "Hi, my name is Gwen, Emily's younger sister." "It's nice to meet you," she said shyly. The Kai then noticed Emily's cat sprouting wings like Happy and fly up to meet him face to face. "And I'm Neb, Emily's partner in crime." The cat stated, "Do all felines fly like birds in this universe?" Black asked, "Only the special and awesome ones." Neb replied. Emily then came up to her mother and put her hand together beggingly. "Can he stay with us until he has to take down Skull Reaper?" PLLLLLLLLLLLEASE. Kayla looked at Black before smiling at her daughter. Sure dear, he seems okay. She said. Yes. Emily cheered. I may regret staying with these mortals, Black thought. The five of them were soon sitting at a table enjoying a meal and engaging in a conversation. So Black, what guild are you a part of? Kayla asked. I am not a part of any guild, but as of right now I am currently acquainted with the one called Fairy Tale, Black replied. Emily and Gwen's eyes grew wide at his reply. You're with the Fairy Tale Guild, they asked. That's so cool. Are all those wizards as amazing as the rumors say? Are you really that strong? What are they like? Black just frowned and Kayla signaled her girls to settle down. So how long do you plan on staying? She asked. Till I've vanquished the guild known as Skull Reaper, which will be tomorrow, Black answered. Then I must continue my journey. Gwen tried to speak. Speak girl, what is it? Black told her, I just wanted to ask what magic you use. Gwen said, I don't use magic, that is a skill for mortals. I possess the powers meant for a god. Black replied. Everyone seemed confused for a bit before Emily said, Oh, you're a god slayer. That's so cool. Black just turned away, not denying her claim. You know, me and my sister can use magic. We'd really like to join a wizard's guild someday. Do you think you can take us to Fairy Tale when you're leaving or maybe put in a good word for us? Absolutely not. Kayla yelled. I thought we agreed that the two of us wouldn't be joining any wizard guild. But Mom, we really want to, Gwen said. Yeah. We've been practicing our magic and we can handle ourselves. Emily argued. You can't keep us here forever. Let us go. Kayla slammed her hands on the table. No, you and your sister's magic still untapped is too unstable. Do you want a repeat of what happened last time? The mother asked. But Mom. Emily tried to argue again. My decision is final. You're not ready and you never will be. Kayla replied bitterly. Emily then burst into tears, hurried to her room and slammed the door. Gwen and Neb went after to comfort her. Black just finished eating before asking, Kayla was it, where are your washrooms? I would like to freshen up before I go cleanse the guild tomorrow. The depressed mother handed Black a towel and soap and pointed him in the direction of the bathroom. Black stepped inside and stripped out of his GI along with removing his time ring and pataro. He folded the GI, put it aside and stepped into the tub. These mortals and their dramas are giving me a headache. Curse that trunks for all I have to endure. Black thought. I'll need a stress reliever, and what better than slaughtering an entire guild of worthless mortals? The Kai was so lost in thought as he washed up he didn't notice the door open and someone stepping into the tub with him till they were right beside him. He looked to his side and saw Gwen next to him naked. At first, he was surprised by her actions as she first came out as shy, but he then disregarded it, not caring either way. I am sorry about this. It's just that I really need a bath and this was the only one available. Gwen said. Black just ignored and continued to wash himself. Since he didn't protest, Gwen assumed he didn't mind and started washing herself. Although Black didn't care about Gwen present with him, he couldn't stop himself from taking a few glances at her body. This is the first time I've a female mortal's body like this, he thought. Are they always this, appealing to the eye? Wait. Why do I even care? I'm a god. I can't be tempted like this. Gwen suddenly held the soup out to the Kai but still didn't make eye contact. Would you wash my back please? She asked. Black raised an eyebrow at this strange request but decided to do so to prove that it meant nothing to him. Very well, turn around. He replied. Gwen did as told and Black began to wash her back. I hope you weren't frightened by what happened at dinner, Gwen started to say. Black gave no answer so she went on. That doesn't always happen. It's just that Mom's afraid to let us join a guild. Why, isn't that the norm for you mortal wizards? A puzzled Black asked, though didn't really care. Yeah, but a while back some guys were beating up on Emily, then she snapped and for a brief moment awakened her magic, Gwen explained. Unfortunately, her outburst of magic power was so great that our mayor and town council banned her and me from using magic again and Mom forbade us from joining any of our magic guilds. Black scoffed, typical mortals. They fear power and yet they contradict those who crave it when the opportunity presents itself to them. He thought. After Black was done washing Gwen's back, she turned to him with a small smile. Okay, now you turn around. She said. Why? He asked. Because now I have to wash your back, duh, Gwen replied. The Supreme Kai rolled his eyes but turned, allowing Gwen to scrub his back. She blushed as she felt how muscular he was. "You don't like mortals at all, do you?" she asked out of nowhere. "How did you?" he asked. "One of my special skills is sensing a person's magical aura and emotions. So when I sensed yours it was immense evil," Gwen explained. "Also, you referred to yourself as a god earlier. It sounded like you felt above us and viewed mortals very low. It's just like a mortal to say that I'm evil because they don't understand a god or my ambitions," Black said. "Do you think I care how you view me, girl?" To his surprise, Gwen moved from behind him to his front and stepped so close to him that their bodies were touching. "I'm sure you don't. But I'm bothered by the fact that you feel evil. Actually, it's the opposite. It turns me and Emily on." She whispered to his ear, getting Black to look at her questionably. She then stepped away from him and got out of the tub. "However, there are 2 things I know about you that you might care about," she said as she wrapped a towel around herself. "Oh, what might those 2 things be?" Black inquired. "One, even though you have a sinister aura, there's still a tiny glimmer of light in you, and it's going to shine eventually," she said with a smart smile. "And second, I know is that you've already got a woman in your life you but don't know yet. I just hope you can make room for me and Emily." She winked at Black, then left the bathroom to go to bed. Black finished bathing and dried off before changing into the spare pair of pajamas that Kayla left for him on the bed in the guest room. Before he slept, he began image training, coming up with numerous ways to kill every single member of Skull Reaper while also improving his body's abilities further. A wicked grin appeared on his face as he thought, "The only light inside me is the light of divine justice that I will unleash on this world, and no one will be spared." He then got in bed and got his much-needed rest for his guild takedown tomorrow. The next day, the morning sun shone through the window, but the Supreme Kai didn't get up to it. He failed to notice as Ned had snuck into his room carrying a trumpet. The cat tiptoed to Black's bedside, pointed the trumpet next to his ear, and blew the loudest note Black would ever hear. The sudden noise caused the Kai to fall out of bed and immediately take a stance, believing he was being attacked. He was surprised to see a small laughing cat rather than an enemy. "Ha, ha, ha! You should see your face, priceless!" Neb laughed at Black's reaction, only to stop when he felt a dark shadow behind him. He looked back to see Black looming over him with an aura of pure malice, making him gulp in fear.
"Probe tested with Burke for
"I can head start before I castrate you on a tree," Black warned. "Only then will you know the wrath of a god. Help! Help! Emily!" Neb cried as he used his wings to bolt out the door. The Kai merely scoffed as he changed into his clothes, took care of his hygiene, and went into the kitchen where he was greeted by Kayla, Emily, and Gwen along with Neb, who was hiding behind his partner's leg, cowering in complete fear. "Good morning, Black," Kayla greeted him. "Not for those in the Blue Skull Guild, it will be their last morning," Black said. "Those mortals will wish they'd never been born when I'm done with them, and then, you're next, cat," he said to Neb. "Emily, Black's trying to kill me." Neb cried. "Black, don't bin to Neb. Besides, you wouldn't hurt a cute little kitty, would you?" Emily asked. "No, it'll be quick and painless," Black smirked, making Neb turn white. Black stopped and grabbed a piece of toast before heading out the door. "Good luck, Black. I wish you success on your mission," Kayla said. "The only thing you should be wishing is that I go easy on them and that there'll be survivors," Black said before leaving. Little did he know he would be followed by a certain trio. Black continued to walk through the forest as he could sense the numerous key signals, believing they belonged to the members of the Dark Guild. As he trekked on, he sensed 3 life forces nearby. He then fired a few energy blasts at the bushes and the pursuers jumped out. Black was surprised to see Emily, Gwen, and Neb were his stalkers but didn't really show it. "Hey, what was that about?" Emily asked. "You 3 attempted to sneak up on a god, a mistake that proves fatal," Black replied before asking. "Now why are the 3 of you here?" Emily came up and looked the Kai in the face. "Isn't it obvious we want to help you?" she said. Black's eyes grew wide before he started chuckling. "You? Help me? Very amusing. As if I require the assistance of a mortal." He scoffed at their misplaced determination. "Hey, we're pretty tough, you know," Emily argued. "Why yeah, plus Blue Skull has been a dangerous guild for a long time," Gwen stated. "Maybe for mortal wizards, but they never had to face a god before today." Black, "Well, we still want to see the guild be taken down," Neb said. "Yeah, so let us stick with you, please." Emily begged. Black just rolled his eyes as he knew that convincing them to go back would be pointless because, like all mortals, especially those like Trunks, were stupidly stubborn. He began walking off and signaled the three to follow him. Gwen was surprised by this. "You sure you want us to come with you?" she asked. Black glared at her. "Don't make me repeat myself. If you mortals are coming, then let's go." "I don't have all day, and neither does Blue Skull," he stated. "Yes, sir." The three complied as they went after the Supreme Kai. After walking a couple more miles through the rough forest, they had arrived at Blue Skull Guild Hall. "I'm telling you, Master, this one guy murdered all of them. I barely managed to escape." The survivor from the group that tried to mug Black said to a man wearing a blue mask, "Just one guy?" The Master asked. "Yeah. I didn't even see him move and I couldn't tell what magic he used," the survivor said. Suddenly, the doors to the hall burst open, revealing a wickedly grinning Saiyan, 2 mages, and a flying cat. The survivor's eyes grew wide and fearful as he recognized Goku Black. That's him, boss." "That's the guy. This is the guy?" the Master asked. Black spotted the skull member from yesterday and his smirk grew even more twisted. "I believe the phrase used by mortals is, 'the one that got away,' but don't worry, I'll be sure to finish the job," he said before pointing at the Blue Skull Master. "Hear me, mortals. Today you will face your deaths at the hands of a god who seeks to exert divine justice. You tell M. Black." Emily said, "You guys are in for it big time." Neb said, "So, who wants to die first?" Black asked. He was suddenly hit in the chest with a magic blast that sent him flying backward. "Black!" The trio cried. The false Saiyan looked up to see a burly man with a big gut aiming his hand at him, where the blast came from. "All right," the Dark Guild cheered. "Dusker and his team are back." The big man glared at Goku Black. "You dare murder my comrades, storm our guild hall, and claim to bring about justice," said an infuriated Dusker. "You're no god, you're just one man. I will see to it that you are immediately crushed." Black got up and looked at the man who struck him. "And who might you be?" he asked. "I am from the brave and beautiful guild and leader of the Skull Reapers, Dusker." Dusker introduced himself. Imagine Dusk Noir but more or less built like Toppo with the whole sense of justice. He was then joined by 2 other mages. "I'm the super speed warrior, Discus," said the mage on the right. Dispo but a human and skilled in hand-to-hand combat and faster than Jet. "And I am the battle-trained executioner Casket," said the final man on the left who was wearing a beret and a metal eye. "And together we are the Skull Reapers," they said in unison while doing poses. Their guildmates clapped for them while Emily, Gwen, and Neb just looked dumbfounded at the whole thing. Black cracked his neck before taking his stance. "So you fools want to challenge a god? I will show you that you are nothing to a being of divine power," he declared. "If you're a god, then why do you radiate pure evil?" Dusker asked. "I can see it in your eyes. You only do want you to want and kill all those who stand in your way. Who do you think you're fooling with this saving the town act and justice facade? You're just lying to yourself. You're no different than the rest of us." Black just laughed at his claim. "So I'm pure evil? I wouldn't expect a mortal to understand why I do things. But to say we're the same, that is an insult I won't take lightly," he replied. "I'll show you the difference right now." The Kai then charged at the lead Skull Reaper and threw a punch at him. Dusker dodged his attack and grabbed his arm before slamming him on the ground. Dusker then stomped on Black's shoulder, dislocating his arm and making him cry out in pain. "Black!" The girl screamed as the Kai kicked himself away from the Skull Reaper. "Is this the godly power you wish to show us?" Dusker asked. Pitiful, Black smirked at the Skull Reaper before snapping his arm back in place. He retook his stance as he emitted a dark aura. "You haven't seen anything yet, mortal," he said before rushing at the Dark Mage again. He instantly appeared in his face and before he could react, Black kicked Dusker in the chin, sending him rolling across the guild floor. Black then jumped onto Dusker's chest hard, making him cough up blood. Before he could do it again, he saw some light to his left and looked over to see Discus with 2 magic circles in his hands. "Skull Crusher!" he shouted while firing a magic attack at Black's head. Black barely dodged the blast before he turned around and saw Casket aiming a bigger magical sphere at his back. "Skull Bomber!" The right side of Black's GI was incinerated by the blast, but he was unharmed. He was about to attack when he sensed another attack coming. Skull Flash. Black evaded the attack from Dusker but then sensed Casket coming at him. Skull Saber. Casket came down at the Kai with a magic energy blade. Black quickly blocked it with his own Keyblade and engaged Casket in a sword duel. The two slashed at each other until Black punched the Skull Reaper in the jaw. Black was then hit in the back by Dusker, who passed him to Discus, who passed him to Casket. The three continuously pummeled the Supreme Kai, much to the girl's horror. "Time to end this," Casket said as they paused their attack on Black, who spat out blood. The executioner raised his hands at the Kai and exclaimed, "Hell's Grip." A pair of skeleton hands made of dark magic appeared and grabbed the false Saiyan. "Great job, Casket! Now finish him. I want to hear his bones cracking while he screams in agony." Dusker ordered. "Yes, sir." Casket obeyed as he used the dark hands to squeeze Black. The former Zamasu yelled as the hand's grip became tighter around his body. The sister watched in fright as their fists were shaking. The casket eventually stopped when it looked like Black had passed out from the pain. "Death Scythe," Dusker said as Scythe of Dark Magic appeared in his hands. He held it over Black's head as he prepared to deliver the final blow that would end the Kai's life. Emily and Gwen were suddenly had immense magic energy as they looked very pissed. "You won't hurt our friend," they cried as their magic power exploded. Emily was surrounded by a light bluish aura, as was Gwen, who had changed her clothes and equipment and grew a pair of angel wings. Dusker just scoffed at this. "More fools wanting to die? Very well." He signaled Discus to attack them. The speed warrior charged at the older sister. She simply sidestepped his attack while her fist lit up. "Galactic Dragon Nova Fist," she exclaimed as she sucker punched Discus in the face, sending him reeling backward. He looked surprised while Emily just glared at him. Discus got back up and charged at Emily again, zooming around the whole room to try and hit her. Emily jumped up while channeling magic energy through her arms.
TB80BFC.
Her attack sent the Speed Reaper flying backward again. Even though he was a bit dazed, Discus still got back on his feet. "You'll have to do better than that," Discus said. He was joined by his leader, and the two put both of their hands forward as their magic circles began glowing and joined into one. "Double Death Cannon," they exclaimed as they fired a massive blast of dark energy. Emily countered by taking a deep breath as her cheeks started to swell. "Galactic Dragon Roar." She let out a blue blazing breath attack that collided with the Reaper's attack. The two blasts pushed against each other until Emily's got the upper hand and overpowered the Reapers, consuming them in a big explosion. Casket was so distracted by his comrades being beaten, he was unaware of Black lifting up his head. The Kai then powered up, completely destroying the spell restraining him before moving over to Emily's said. "I didn't realize you were a dragon slayer, girl," Black said to her. "Yeah, I'm awesome that way," Emily replied. Dusker and Discus had partly recovered from the explosion and were furious. Their top clothing was scorched and damaged, leaving just the bottom part. "How dare you damage our custom uniforms?" Dusker said as he shook with rage. "Skull Reapers assemble!" The Skull Reaper came together again. "Together now," he ordered. Triple Skull Cannon. The three combined their magic energies and shot one giant blast at Black and Emily. The Kai raised his hand to deflect the attack but was surprised when Gwen suddenly appeared in front of them defensively. A magic circle materialized before her as she changed into some kind of revealing outfit while she extended her hand in front of the beam. "I cast the shield," she exclaimed. Then a green magic circle appeared and stopped the blast before deflecting it upward. She then changed into somewhat of another revealing outfit, making her appear as an angel of light. She materialized a bow and arrow before pointing it at the Skull Reapers. "May the light pierce the darkness in your heart," she said, "Arrow of Purity." Gwen fired the arrow that engulfed the three Reapers in a blinding light. The light then dissipated and the three Reapers were revealed to be knocked out just as Gwen fell unconscious into her sister's arms. These two seem exceptionally strong for female mortals. Black thought before he started clapping. "Not bad, that was somewhat impressive, girls." "We'll take that as a compliment," Emily said. "You should, because a god rarely gives one to your kind," Black said. "Just know, I did not require your assistance at all. I was in control of the battle from the start." The two then heard footsteps and clapping. They looked and saw a man in his 20s with short black hair and two piercing black eyes wearing a short vest with green stripes going down the middle along with a pair of blue-cut shorts, a blue mask, and some black sneakers. Another mortal has come to die? Very well. And who might you be, mortal? Black asked the man. My name is Bao and I'm the guild master of Blue Skull. The man introduced himself before glancing around. I must say you roughed up my boys quite a bit. That's what they get for being weak. Black said, while I do agree with you, this act against my guild and the assault cannot stand. Bao said, does that mean you intend to fight me now? Black asked, oh, I'll do more than that. I'll introduce you to new types of pain. Then you'll be begging for mercy. Bao declared as he started releasing a magic aura. Emily held onto her sister tightly while Neb's fur was on edge. Then a dark purple appeared above the bow with a skull on it and other magical markings. Satan's soul, King Slayer! Bao exclaimed as his appearance began to change in a flash of purple light. When the light faded, Bao stepped out revealing a new appearance. He was clad in armor in some parts, the right side of his face was covered by a red marking and he was covered in a few scars and two devil wings sprouted from his back. He took a step towards the wizards who seemed to flinch back while Black stood his ground. Now, young wizards, shall we begin? Bao asked. Black took his stance, sensing that the Skullmaster might actually be a challenge to him. This is going to be fun, he thought before rushing at the Master of Blue Skull. As the two clashed, Emily ran outside with her sleeping sister and her cat. She set Gwen down at the side before she heard a crashing noise and looked up. Black and Bao had burst through the guild hall's roof and had taken their fight to the skies. Black rushed at the Skullmaster with a barrage of punches. Bao tried to counter by kicking Black in the head, but he blocked it with his left arm before he kneed Bao in the gut, making him cough up spit. Bao grasped his stomach in pain when he noticed Black aiming a yellowish-black ki blast at him. He fired and the blast hit the Skullmaster, sending him reeling towards the ground. Black then shot more ki blasts at the ground as Bao was still recovering from the last one. In response, Bao put both of his arms up in defense and yelled, King's Shield. A red barrier then appeared in front of Bao as the rain of blasts made impact all around him. When the dust cleared, Black saw that Bao was unharmed. The red barrier disappeared and the Skullmaster got up as Black descended to ground level. Quite impressive. And you such power with ferocity to match for a wizard. What guild are you a part of? Bao inquired. I am not affiliated with any guild, but the request to destroy your guild I received was for Fairy Tail. Black answered. Fairy Tail? You're a part of that despicable guild. The Skullmaster sneered. That guild has been nothing but trouble for Blue Skull for decades, ever since their first master and the founders stole the Tenro orb from us. For years we've wanted to get back at them for that, but their members were too strong for us. We even asked our brother guild Phantom Lord to help us, but they refused. Now, this'll be the perfect way to taunt those upstarts, by killing one of their members. Mortals are very hard of hearing. I already told you that I'm not a part of that children's guild. I have nothing to do with your petty grudge with them, nor do I care for it. Black said. However, I refuse to lose to a mortal again. So, if you think you can defeat a god, then take your best shot. I've had enough of this playful banter. It's time to show you why I lead Blue Skull. Bao declared. Then show me, mortal, the power of a king slayer. Use it to make me kneel before you, ha! Black mocked him. Bao glared at the Kai while emitting a red magic aura. Black revved up before rushing at the dark mage to strike him with his keyblade. He sliced Bao in half, and then the halves faded away, confusing the false Saiyan. He then turned around and was engulfed by a red blast from a magic circle. Black was knocked onto his back as his body was smoking. Black! Emily and Neb said with concern. The Supreme Kai stood up and saw that the rest of his GI had been vaporized, leaving just a shred of his undershirt. He ripped it off, revealing his well-built upper body, which made Emily blush. Black then dusted himself off and cracked his neck before he rushed Bao, kicking him in the gut, causing him to be sent flying. Bao growled and flew up into the air. Enough! I am Bao, leader of Skull Reaper. I will not be mocked by fairy tale scum. He roared before aiming his hands at the Kai and forming a magic seal. Black could sense that he was focusing all of his magic power on one final attack. King's final commandment. Out of the magic circle, a giant reddish-purple beam appeared and was heading right towards Black. The Saiyan imposter smirked as he crossed his arms to defend himself. "Black, what are you doing?" Emily cried. The blast hit Goku Black dead on and exploded. When it passed, the Kai was still standing in the same spot, which surprised Bao, Neb, and Emily. How did you?" Bao asked. Black put his arms down and grinned wickedly at the Skullmaster. "I have to admit, mortal, that attack actually gave me quite a bit of pain, but it's gonna take a lot more if you wish to compete with a god," he said. But this can't be. "You should be dead," Bao said with fear. "You have my thanks though," Black said as he powered up again. "Our battle has helped me increase my strength, so to repay you, I'll make your end swift." Black then took a certain stance as he started concentrating his energy on a single point. "You fought well for a mortal, but this is where it ends. Me. A black sphere of ki appeared in between Goku Black's palms as he chanted. "Ha!" The black beam burst from the Kai's palms and was flying right at Bao. "You will not beat me." "King's shield!" Bao yelled as he summoned the red barrier again. The blast hit the barrier and Bao struggled to block it. The king's shield started to crack as Bao's arms began to give out. "Darn it! I can't hold it," he yelled before the blast broke through his shield and consumed him. Smoke floated in the sky before something fell from it and hit the earth. Bao was lying on the ground and out of his King Slayer form. "See, curse you," he muttered as Black slowly walked towards him. The Kai knelt down to look Bao in the eye. "Next time, know your place, which is under a god's boot, mortal," Black said. "Well, guess there won't be a next time for you. It doesn't matter if you defeat me, my guild will do what it takes to crush Fairy Tail," Bao said. "You fairy scum will feel our wrath." Black grabbed Bao by the collar and lifted him up with his right hand. "I told you, I'm not with that pathetic guild. And frankly, I don't care if you don't believe me or what happens to those fairies, but know this, your guild will perish today," he said. "I was planning on bringing you in alive." His left hand made a keyblade that pierced the Skullmaster's heart. "But I guess your corpse will have to suffice." Bao's eyes went wide as blood spilled from his mouth and chest. What are you?" he asked before coughing up more blood and dying. "I told you, I am a god," Black answered as he dropped Bao's cadaver. He then looked over to the guild hall where he sensed the life forces of the other guild members. Now to finish the job, he formed a big yellow energy ball with a black center. He threw it at the guild hall where it detonated, obliterating every single member inside, leaving nothing but a giant burnt hole in the ground. Emily and Neb stared at the former guild hall with their jaws hanging open at Black's power. Emily got over her astonishment and rushed over to Black, tackling him and embracing him in a big hug. "Thank God, you're all right. I was worried about you," she said with her head in her chest. "I am a god girl. I have no need of your thanks, now release me at once," Black said. Emily immediately obeyed before she realized she had hugged Black's bare chest and became flustered. Gwen began to awake as she sat up and rubbed her eyes. "Hey guys, what did I miss?" she inquired. "I'll tell you on the way back," Neb told her. Goku Black then grabbed Bao and hoisted him onto his shoulder. "Now to turn this worthless fool over to the mayor and receive payment," he said, and the quad began to walk back to town. Black was suddenly confused when the floor looked to be getting closer until he fell flat on the ground. "Black!" The others cried as they rushed to his side. Before the Supreme Kai began to lose consciousness, he grasped his chest and smirked. "Guess I took more damage from the fight than expected. This body is much weaker than I initially realized, but it doesn't matter," he thought before closing his eyes and accepting the exhaustion. "This pain will only make me stronger." Okay, sadly chapter is over, and if you enjoyed, just leave a like and subscribe with a post notification so when the chapter is ready you will be notified. Okay, see you next one, bye.